Welcome back to BK Nothing But Nets podcast. I'm joined with my co-host, as always, Dylan from Nets Press. Got a win today, Dylan. They didn't close it out well. I posted talking about their first win, and then immediately after that, Orlando cut the lead from 14 down to 1. What were your thoughts on the game and the way the Nets closed it out?
Yeah, it seemed like a typical Nets game, even if it was just a summer league one. Well, it's always got to be rough at the end, but no, they got it done. It was nice to see a win for the young guys. You know, some performances looked well. The fourth quarter for Jaeger was definitely something that was nice to see. He was struggling for majority of the game. Um, Again, though, same issues that I've had with him for the previous games that we've seen, which is just a lack of aggression and overall shot creation outside of just shooting threes. He did have a nice attack to the rim for a dunk in the beginning of the game, but outside of that, really nothing else. The three clutch threes at the end was definitely nice to see. He's at least not afraid to take those shots towards the end of the game. But overall, I'd like to see a bit more from him. If he can knock down 3 or 4 threes a game, but expand that into, rather than taking 8 to 10 per game, maybe taking 5 to 6 and finding those easier high percentage shots in the paint and in the mid range. I definitely want to see some form of development within that realm. But Danny Wolf also looked really good today. So
Danny
finally.
Wolf played well, other than the free throw line. Danny Wolf played well today. Yegor struggled with a shot till the final couple minutes of the game, which I thought was a good sign. Even when he's not having a good shooting day, he was able to settle down and hit some big shots. I thought that was a good sign. And then Caleb Daniels was running with the starters today, and he played, I think, more minutes than anyone on the team, I believe. Your thoughts on Caleb? I mean, he's worked his way into the I know it's a summer league, but he's worked himself into playing with the starters and getting more minutes. What are your thoughts on first Yegor's clutch shooting on a day where he wasn't shooting well up until the fourth quarter, and then Caleb Daniels?
Yeah, like I said, I think it was nice to see the confidence from Yegor from beyond the arc. When you're having an off night, sometimes guys will tend to shy away from those moments, but he stepped into them and delivered. So it was good to see that on his end. Daniels overall, not his greatest performance here, but 8 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Definitely can't complain. He was filling up the stat sheet in many different ways. So, like I said, I think out of everybody here so far, he's earned his way into that final two-way spot. Um, but again, with Diego, I want to see some more all-around offense to his game. It can't just be threes or playmaking. I need to see another aspect to that offensive game to really feel confident in him being an 8th overall pick.
I thought it was a foregone conclusion that Grant Nelson was going to get that final two-way spot until the summer league games actually started.
Yeah.
Has he played himself out of any possibility of getting that two-way spot? I don't even think today was his worst day. He seemed to get some offensive rebounds. Like, he did some things okay today, but he's not shining like you would want him to in a summer league game.
Yeah, I mean, out of all the starters, he was the only one with a negative plus minus. He was a -1. Tucson was a perfect 0, and then the rest were a 4, 3, and 5. So, um, he was actually the only net with a negative plus minus. But yeah, I definitely think he's worked his way out of the two-way spot. I don't think he's earned himself that spot to confidently say that he deserves it. I think that he can definitely be a guy that's signed to the Long Island Nets and just plays there throughout the year. But I don't see him being given that two-way spot as of right now.
The guy I want to keep circling back to is Caleb Daniels. He's 26, but I agree. If I had to give the spot to someone, if it had to be one of these guys, I would give it to Caleb Daniels. But he is 26, and how much of a detraction? How much does that take away? Like, he's already reached his potential. He's 26. He's not going to get physically better. He's already got his. How much does that weigh into their decision?
I mean, I think it should weigh into it a bit, just because again, you want to give those spots to guys who, need development and haven't earned their full NBA contract yet, but also do need to see some form of NBA minutes to kind of figure out whether or not they deserve an NBA contract. Um, as of right now, I do think that the two-way spot may come from somebody outside of this current summer league roster, whether that be a player who isn't given a two-way spot with the current team that they're playing for in summer league. I would love to see that go to a guy like Dink Pate if he's not given the opportunity in New York. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to come from an outside player if they were smart enough. Just because there's a lot of high talent that could not be on rosters this year, so it's worth to take a risk on somebody else.
Last year, I was clamoring for Amari Bailey to get that last two-way spot. He was on Long Island, and they traded him for Drew Timme. How about we get Amari Bailey on that last two-way? Is he anywhere right now? Where is Amari Bailey right now?
I have no clue.
Is he on a roster somewhere? Is he on?
I could not confidently answer that, so I am not sure at the moment. I can try looking it up real quick while we're discussing it, but
the thing about Caleb Daniels is if they gave him the last two-way, he's 26, so there's not going to be a ton of improvement. And look, if he gets that two-way, it's because he worked his way onto it. He acted like Rudy, like he gave it max effort on every play, and I appreciate that. But like, isn't he just a bad version of Keon Johnson? Because he's not a shooter, he's an athlete, but he's not as athletic as Keon Johnson. It's like, I think he deserves it because of the effort that he gave and the production that he put forth, right? 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Like, he's giving you a stat line, 3 of 6 shooting, 8 points. But like, what the hell would we do with him? Like, I don't see any role for him. It's not like he's going to get better. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I said on their first summer league, I like him. There's a 0% chance he makes the team.
Yeah, no, I'm not finding anything on Bailey either right now.
Okay. We should give that final two-way spot to Amari Bailey. That's my vote. I want to touch on the rookies real quick. Obviously, no Torrey and Saraf today. Wolf and Jaeger played well. There's things that I like. You can see that Jordy's his fingerprints are all over this. They're passing the ball well. They move the ball well. But they're still taking a ton of threes. Like, it's the summer league. Can we please attack the hoop in the summer league? Why are we settling for so many threes in the summer league? Even up big, we're still settling for threes. Like, there's not much pick and roll. I know it's the summer league, and it's a little more chaotic. But you know what I'm saying? Like, defensively, the effort is there. I thought the switch defense and the rotations were really good, especially in the first half. And their offense is just, 3-point hunting. It seems like it looks like last year again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it definitely does. And I think that's kind of what they're shooting for this year, is just to have a solidified tank rather than some guys coming in and really impacting the game. So I can't complain about that, because I was one of the main people who felt that bottoming out was the right way to go. Of course, they didn't. And that resulted in what we're currently witnessing. But hopefully they get it right this year. There's not a lot of teams that I can see tanking as of right now. Of course, injuries will happen throughout the season and things will change. But I mean, if you're really just looking at a list of teams currently in the NBA, you have to think Cleveland, New York, Indy, Milwaukee, Detroit, Orlando, Atlanta, Toronto, Philly, Charlotte, Washington. Those teams are out of that picture in the East. So that gives you Brooklyn, Chicago, and Boston. And then even then, Boston healthy without Tatum is still a play-in team, just outside the play-in, maybe, depending on if they, tank or not. But there's really only 2 teams in the East that I can see being at the bottom. And then, of course, the West, you have OKC, Houston, both LA teams. Denver got better, Minnesota, Golden State's still going to probably be in that play-in picture. Memphis, Dallas, San Antonio, New Orleans. Over there you have Utah and maybe Phoenix as your bad team. Sacramento. And again, if you're looking at Phoenix and Sacramento, they're still better rosters than Brooklyn. So you have to hope that at the end of the day, this is a bottom 4 team. Of course, bottom 2 would probably be the best, just to solidify the floor of the pick. But They need to get lucky next year because
If you finish bottom 2, the second worst team in the NBA, what's the worst that you can pick?
6th.
1
Yeah.
is 5, 2 is okay.
Yeah. I mean, again, if you're looking at it from this draft specifically, say you are the worst team in the league and you get 5th, that this year that would have gotten you Ace Bailey. You know, if you were the 3rd
Yeah.
worst team in the NBA and you got the 7th pick, that got you Jeremiah Fears. So there's definitely some positives to being one of the worst teams in basketball because it at least solidifies you in getting a high upside player that, though it may not be the guy, it could be your solidified second option. And that's the nice thing too, right? Let's just say there is a scenario where Brooklyn fails to get a top 3 pick next year, but they land in that 4 through 6 range. You know, you're still getting a guy who could be your second option. And we have the market and cap space the following offseason to bring in a guy that could be the number 1. So that wouldn't worry me too much. It's just, of course, you want to have the young guy who you can consider your 1A, 1B before going after that guy who could be your superstar. But we got to hope for some good luck next year because this year sucked in terms of draft lottery night.
It was not good. I want to switch things to the Orlando side because there were 2 guys that we mentioned a lot. Jace Richardson had played really well on a little bit that I watched. He's playing well in the summer league. In the little bit that I watched of Orlando, he did not play today at all. And the other name that we talked about a lot was Noah Penda, who did play really well. Somebody that we could have had. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Penda looked good. He looked like the the 3-and-D type of guy that he is. Defensively, he was the primary defender on Yegor all night long, which resulted in 6 turnovers from Yegor. So he did his job. It was funny. I actually put out a tweet mid-game, just based on some of the summer league performances and just players that I had personal interest in at certain picks. Like if you were to redraft the Nets 5 picks this year, right? Yegor at 8, I think that was their guy no matter what, so I kept it there. But Nick Clifford at 19th, he went 24th. Liam McNeely at 22nd, he went 29th. Rasheer Fleming at 26, he went 31st. And then I added in Drake Powell at 27, which of course we got at 22. Like that draft right there, I'd feel more confident in than what we've currently got going for us right now. So it kind of just goes to show you where this class specifically, there was so much talent everywhere, and somehow we're still not confident enough in 5 of these players, let alone 1 or 2 of them right now. Realistically, there's a problem. There's at least a problem or 2 with each of the players that we've taken so far to not feel confident that these guys could be, first, second, third options on this team. But it's crazy to think about how much talent was in here and how little we feel we currently have.
I wanted to touch on. We have our last game is Friday against Philly. What else do you want to? Is there anything else you want to see from the rookies? I'm guessing we'll play a full rotation of guys. That's on Friday. Is there anything that you want to see on Friday that we haven't seen yet, or that you want to see more of, or what do you hope out of the last summer league game on Friday?
Yeah, I want to see the things that I've been asking for since game 1. I want to see Yegor take some mid-range shots. I want to see him be aggressive towards the rim. I want to see Nolan Traore space the floor and create his own shot in the mid-range once he beats a defender. I want to see Danny Wolf be a better IQ player. He showed, the floor spacing today in the shot creation, which was good, but still very low IQ turnovers on his end. There was many times where he got picked, his pocket picked from inside the post, which is again an issue that I have been bringing up. And then of course Saraf, I just want to see an offensive game. Outside of the crossover mid-range shot that he has, which he hasn't hit effectively, there really hasn't been much of an offensive game to him. So mainly Traore, I want to see the pull-up shots after beating a defender. He's creating 2 to 3 feet of space after beating his defender. It's a wide-open mid-range shot every time, which he's refused to take. And then, of course, with Yegor, again, mid-range shots and getting to the basket. So we'll see. I've been asking for these things for 3 games from each of them, and we really haven't seen it yet. So,
And I don't want to beat the guys up over a couple summer league games. They played 3 summer league games, because they sat one out, so they played 3. But it's like Jace Richardson has looked good for Orlando. Penda looked good for Orlando today. Our guys really haven't looked good. Like specifically Saraf. Like we could have had Jace. We could have had Penda 5 times. We passed on Penda, right? And I'm just, why are these guys not standing out? You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it's concerning to me, is that we took all these guys in the first round. Penda was taken in the second round, right? 32nd overall.
Penda, was the 32nd pick.
So he's got, this isn't even a first round pick who shines, who looks like he will, who looks like he's too good to be on this court. Our guys don't do that. Drew Timme has consistently been our best player. Yegor has played well in spots, but again, he's not aggressive enough. He's blending in. Like I wouldn't know that was the 8th overall pick on the floor unless you told me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's just nobody is standing out, which is very concerning to me.
No, I agree. And like I said, all these picks, a lot of these picks were reaches, right? Like you look at Noah Penda at 32nd overall. He's playing like a guy that should have been taken between, 24 and 29. Liam McNeely got taken at 29. He's playing like a guy that should have been taken between 18 and 22. Nick Clifford got drafted, 23rd, 24th? He looks like a guy that should have been taken in the 16 through 20 range. Like a lot of these players are looking better than what their actual draft pick was. Saraf at 26, he looks like a guy that probably should have been taken at 45. Danny Wolf taken at 27 looks like a guy that should have been taken between like 35 and 40. Yegor probably shouldn't have been a top 10 pick, but that's the problem. All these guys are looking like better than what their draft pick was, and ours haven't. So again, like you said, it's been 3 summer league games for each of them. I'm not going to give them too much crap for it, but I got to see something in preseason to feel some form of confidence in some of these picks. Even the commentator today said it. They're like, they took 5 picks. They're hoping for 1 or 2 of them to work out. That would be like hitting the lottery. Like that mindset sucks.
Yeah, I agree.
If you wanted 1 or 2 guys, you should have traded up. You should have traded up for 3 top 18 picks rather than, 5 picks total. It still doesn't make sense. It will never make sense unless if some of these guys hit. But again, that's a big ask. You're asking for 5 guys that you overvalued. You're asking for them to hit, and realistically, you didn't give them the best opportunities, regardless, because you drafted 3 guys of the same caliber of play at the point guard position, and you drafted a center who plays similar to them. So it was, again, I don't trust Sean Marks at all. I'm not going to pretend like I'm sitting here confidently thinking that he did something good. I want to like these players. I'm going to cheer for these players, but I'm also going to give my fair share of criticism, not towards them specifically, but because of how poorly he drafted. So we'll see. I'm not confident in a lot of these guys whatsoever. The only 2 that I really think that'll turn out well are Yegor and Drake Powell. I think those are the 2 guys that you can definitely see moving forward being something within this organization. But to me, it's very tough to be happy with what we walked away from on draft night. There was a lot of better scenarios that could have been made.
I agree, and I want to reemphasize that point. If you wanted 2 guys to hit, you should have gave yourself the best chance to land those 2 guys, which is trading up. If they would have only traded up to get like 3 and 14, and that was their only picks, I'd say, okay, just get them right. Like, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with trading up. I like the idea of trading up, but you got to get it right. It feels like they did the opposite. We're going to throw as much against the wall as we can and see what sticks. Like that's kind of like what I took from Sean Marks' draft. Hopefully, we threw 5 darts. Hopefully, one of them comes through. It's like that's.
It's a poor strategy.
Right? You got a monkey throwing darts at a wall. Say, okay, let's go with that one. It's like that. This is not a good idea.
No, I agree. And the crazy part is I just read something a couple of minutes ago that said the Raptors offered the 9th overall pick to the Celtics for Drew Holiday. Like, if that was a real offer, why would you not offer 19 and Cam Johnson for 9?
Yeah.
I would have felt much more confident if you walked away with Yegor and one of either Carter Bryant or Malawak, or Derek Queen. These are guys that you had opportunities for. The Nets were linked to the 9th pick for 3 weeks. Again, it's very, very poor front office, as every year is, as a Nets fan, whether it's Billy King, whether it's the Russian, or if it's Sean Marks. All three of these guys have done nothing for this organization, and it continues to be that way. And a lot of the times, poor general managers comes from poor ownership, because the only guy hiring a general manager is an owner. So it has not been pretty. I'm not excited to see what else he does, because I'm not confident in what he's already done.
Yeah, I agree. And last season was as low as it gets. There was nothing to watch. We're playing Tyrese Martin. We're playing Keon Johnson. We're playing all these guys that don't really belong. Jalen Martin. I don't forget who was even on the opening day roster. But none of these guys, that none of these guys are going to be here beyond a year or two. This year was different. You got 5 first-round picks. I want to see these guys. And outside of Yegor and Trae, I don't really – I'm not expecting much. I'm expecting a lot of these guys to be down in Long Island. I just, from what I've seen this summer, the rookies are really bringing down my confidence. They're really bringing down my expectations. They haven't shown me anything to be excited about, except a little bit in Trae.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Yegor has shown a bit of excitement, just because the biggest question mark was the 3-point shot. But outside of that, the ball handling has looked very weak. He is getting thrown off balance with ease. He's, and I will give him the benefit of the doubt on some of the turnovers, because he is playing with some horrible players right now. I think playing next to a Cam Thomas, Nick Claxton, Michael Porter Jr., you'll see the assists start to come. But the playmaking has not looked great. And again, like I said, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, because he's playing with, Tosan and a bunch of nobodies. But yeah, I mean, there's not much to be excited about in this group currently. I hope they give Drake Powell minutes on the NBA level. That's going to be one thing that I'm really looking out for, because not only do I think he needs it for his development, but it's also a fun, exciting piece that's different than the other picks that you took. You took 4 playmakers, 3 of which are the same position, but Powell's kind of that outsider who, is a high caliber defender, one of the most, if not the most athletic player in this draft class. A guy that can space the floor as well. I want to see him get minutes this year. So I'm hoping to see a lot from him in preseason, especially not being able to see him in Summer League.
The other guy I wanted to touch on was Tosan from Walmart. Talk about not standing out in the Summer League. He's supposed to be an NBA player. How come he looks like garbage out there?
Because he's not really an NBA player.
That's really all there is to say about him. So why did we give him the 2-way?
I agree. Who knows?
There's just I'm looking at it. I want to be excited. I'm looking for things to be excited about, and I look at this there's nothing to be excited about. I want to. Let me ask you about Yegor. If Yegor turned into Josh Giddey, are you happy with that? If that's what because Giddey shot the 3-ball better this year. I think he shot 35, 30. He shot at an acceptable rate.
Yeah, no, he shot much better this year.
Yeah. If that's what Yegor is, what we saw in Giddey this year, are you happy with that?
I would say so. I mean, the only reason why is I think as a point guard, that's very valuable. If a guy can give you 16, 8, and 8, that's more than okay with me. And I'm looking it up right now. Giddey was the 6th overall pick. So if that's what he turns into as the 8th overall pick, I wouldn't be mad about it. I think Giddey is the perfect third option. I think he's the second most impactful player on a floor if he's on the contender. But in terms of just the overall option that he is offensively, he's definitely your third option when it comes to being on a contender. So if Yegor is your third option and he's your primary ball handler and putting up 16, 8, and 8, I can live with that. I have no problem with that.
I want to just play a one here. Yegor and Wolf look good. I agree. And Wolf to a lesser degree. I thought Yegor looked good. Wolf looked okay. But like, I want them to shine. I want them to be the best player out there. They're first round picks. They're supposed to stick out. Like Jace Richardson didn't play today, but Jace played well. And Penda was a second round pick. And Penda sticks out. It's like, okay, that guy belongs at the next level. I don't see that with Wolf. He played well today, but did he stand out to you?
He stood out to me in certain aspects, especially the floor spacing. And though a couple of the shots that he took in the post were shots where he was thrown off balance, but he was able to knock him down. So I think that stood out to me a bit. But I wouldn't say that he's had like an incredible performance. I mean, 18, 6, and 4. It's definitely the best performance out of any rookie so far. Which I'll give him that. But would I say that this was like a standout performance? Probably not. It's close, but at the end of the day, he doesn't seem like the guy, even though he put up those stats.
Here's what: who's been better this summer, Drew Timme or Wolf?
Drew Timme, without a doubt.
If this was Wolf's best game, we all agree on that. It would have been Timmy's worst game of the summer league, and that's what I mean by not standing out. Yeah, Wolf is playing okay, but it should be like a major leaguer playing with AAA players. Like that's the contrast I want to see. You should be eating their lunch, right? Like you should be dominating these guys because they're not on your level, or they're not supposed to be on your level. And no, I wouldn't say Wolf played bad. Yegor, I agree. Yegor at times, especially closing tonight's game, Yegor looks like the best player on the court. Good. Okay, I feel good about that to a degree. I'm not. This is more on Wolf. Wolf just strikes me as another guy. Yeah, he played well. But he just strikes me as another guy on the court.
Yeah, I can't. I want to disagree, but I can't. When you have a guy who is taken 8th overall, you want to see him come out and look like the best player on the floor. And he has not done that yet. And he's also a guy that's been playing professionally since he was, 16, 17?
15, 16, something like
that. Yeah, because he played overseas in the Euro League for a little bit, then he came over to BYU. So this isn't like he should be new to the physicality and to the game. I mean, if you watch his highlights, he doesn't look like he was getting thrown off balance left and right, but so far he has. So we'll see. I want him to turn out well because I do think in terms of his size, his IQ, that he can be a very good player in this league. And like I said, the Giddey comparison I like a lot, but I need to see more.
I wanted to touch on Tyrese Samuel as well. Again, a guy probably going to be in Long Island, but I thought Tyrese Samuel, I think, yeah, number 17. I thought that high energy, good defense. I thought that was a bright spot too. I put down here like Tyrese is. He was busting his ass on defense. He got a couple of steals. He made a couple of easy baskets, an easy transition basket. Tyrese Samuel. Probably not going to be on the roster, but shout out to him. I like the effort today.
Yeah, no, he definitely looked a little bit better than previous games. There were some times where he looked like he was absolutely lost out there, but today he looked solid. I can't complain. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm not watching these games to watch for the guys like Chase Daniels and the Drew Timmes and the Tosans and the Samuels, but Daniels has caught my eyes a couple of times. Samuel, he had a couple of solid plays today where he looked like he'll at least be a nice fundamental piece in Long Island. Does he ever reach the NBA level for the Nets? I don't think so.
No.
But he definitely had a solid game.
I know you can't stay too long tonight. I wanted to touch on a couple of things a little bit. Any closing thoughts? You got a few minutes. What's your schedule like?
Honestly, whatever other topics you got, we can talk about. We're hitting that point in the season where now we're gonna have to wait 3 months for some NBA action. So it's gonna be a tough couple of months.
We can cook Sean Marks every day for the next 3 months if you'd like.
That's easy. Yeah, that I could do every day for at least an hour for sure.
So we got just one summer league game left. Just in a word, I would describe the summer league as underwhelming. What are your thoughts so far on closing out this? what you've seen in the summer league so far.
I think that's a perfect word for it. When you draft 5 guys, you're expecting to see something great from some of them. And I don't think there's been a guy that's done anything great yet. But again, hopefully, like I said, there's 3 months until we'll start seeing NBA action again with preseason starting in the first week of October. Hopefully with training camp and preseason, they actually start to showcase something. It would be nice to see Hager add like 10 pounds of muscle sometime, somehow in that span, but we'll see.
I mean, Yegor is what, 19?
Yeah.
When I was 19, I was built like a string bean too. I filled out like about 23 years old. I just my body just got way bigger. So I mean, it's hard. You see this all the time with boxers. Like they're a 122 pounder one day when they're 22, and they wake up the next day when they're 23 and they're 140 pounds. You see it all. Their body just gets bigger. So
yeah.
Look at Kobe Bryant. Go look at rookie Kobe Bryant, and then look at him.
I was gonna say one guy that I'm looking at as a pathway for Yegor is Nikola Topic, right? He came into the league last year at 190, 195. He gained 15, 20 pounds this past year after recovering from the ACL injury. So that's kind of what I would like to see out of Yegor. If he can gain, 10 to 20 pounds over the next year, I think that would be something that's really good for him. Could affect the shot a bit, but overall, just in terms of being a ball handler, the primary ball handler, I think that'll help him a lot.
There's definitely things to be excited about. Tosan of Woma is not one of them. I don't want to see him this year. I swear, I just don't want to see him this year. It's like Keon Johnson. Like I know that he can't play, but there are things to be excited about. The last game, do you expect to see all 4? I mean, put Drake Powell aside, but do you expect to see big minutes from the other 4?
I do. I think this is the last game to just really give them 20+ minutes each and see what they can do. I still think it's smart to split them up. I think Traore and Sarath off the bench would be nice, leaving Yegor and Wolf as the starters. I think that those 2 combinations worked out pretty well for each player in those rotations. So that's kind of what I would do again. I would have Traore and Sarath off the bench, Yegor and Wolf starting.
As far as the Nets offense, I mean, like we talked about it a little bit earlier. We touched on it. It looks like the same offense they ran last year when they had no ball handlers. Is that concerning to you that they drafted 4 guys that can handle the ball and they're still just 3-point hunting from behind the arc? They're just passing the ball. Is it concerning to you? Is this what we're going to run in the regular season again?
I hope not, because you and me both have kind of agreed that the whole shot chucking threes as a team is not a winning system to try and build. Boston's done it the past couple of years and they've come away with a championship, but
I'll let you get Boston kind of did it. Boston still played like an inside out kind of game. They didn't just throw the ball around the 3-point line. Yeah, they did at times. So
I was going to say there was a lot of games where they did, but when they needed to win a game, they didn't. Right. And that's kind of the thing, right? Look at the game that Jason Tatum tore his Achilles. That entire series, he looked like shit. Why? Because he was shot chucking from 3. And what happened that game that he tore his Achilles? He went off for 40+, and he was taking mid-ranges, attacking the rim, shooting efficiently. So that's basketball. You can't live or die by the 3. I don't care what analytics department tells you that. It's the same thing as a Yankees fan. Analytics department tells you that home runs are the best thing that you can do, but when you build a roster of just home run or strikeout guys, you're never going to win a championship, right? And you saw that last year in the World Series with the Yankees. So it's the same thing with basketball. Analytics aside, threes is not what's going to win you a game. Efficiency is what's going to win you a game. And if you shoot 53% as a team and 38% from 3 as a team, that's always going to beat the team that's shooting 45% from the field and 29% from 3 because they're shot checking from 3. You got to be efficient.
Yeah, and what I'm concerned about is this is the way Jordy views. Last year I gave him a pass because you didn't have anyone to create offense for themselves or for others. So this is kind of what you had to do. Yeah. That wasn't supposed to be the blueprint this year, right? Like we have ball handlers, we have playmakers, we should be attacking, not just passing the ball. It's concerning to me that this is the way that Jordy Fernandez views offense.
Yeah, I agree. And again, we've kind of discussed this a couple of times now. European basketball is good, but you get to the Olympic level and the U.S. still beats them every time. It does not matter which European team it is; they always get decimated. Playing basketball in the United States, you need to play a certain way. There needs to be a form of versatility where you can play both ends of the floor, where you can create shots at different aspects of the floor, whether that's from inside the arc, inside the paint, outside the three. You have to be able to do things in numerous different ways, and they drafted guys who can't really do things in different ways. Traore can attack the basket, but he can't hit a three to save his life. Yegor, so far showing that he can shoot a three, but he's refusing to attack the basket consistently. Saraf doesn't look like an NBA player. Wolf, weak physicality for a big. Like, there's a lot of problems with these guys. Um, so hopefully it gets figured out. I keep saying this, but it's very, very underwhelming to have to worry about all these problems with all these guys.
When you were talking about creating multiple shots on the court and being able to score from everywhere on the court, I was just thinking, did you hear Paul Pierce's comments where he said he's the best scorer ever?
Yeah, Paul
Did you hear?
Pierce is also an idiot. The guy's whoever gave him a mic to speak is just stupid. It's like giving Kendrick Perkins a mic and thinking that he has great basketball analysis. The guy averaged 3 points in the NBA. Get these guys out of here.
But look, obviously Paul Pierce is not the greatest scorer ever. But like, he makes a good point in the sense that he was one of the guys, like I talk about Cam Thomas. Paul Pierce could score from anywhere on the court, from the logo to the basket and everywhere in between. He could get to the line. He had a post game. He had everything. No, he's not as good a scorer as Durant or Carmelo or Kobe or any of the other great names. But like, he could score from everywhere on the court. He could. And that forever made him a threat, and it kept him in the NBA for a long time. That's what I want to see in this. I want to see a team that can score, that can create their own shots, that can score in a variety of ways.
Yeah, and we don't have that.
No, we do not.
and that's the other problem too, right? We're kind of hoping that Yegor looks a little bit more comfortable as a playmaker because he's going to be playing alongside the Michael Porter Juniors and the Cam Thomases. But we're halfway through July and Cam Thomas is not on this team. Like, when are we going to start having the conversation? Is he going to be here? And if he's not here, who the hell is helping Michael Porter Jr. score?
Well, I've been pretty adamant. I don't think he's going to be here.
I don't think so either at this point. Like, I think you're stupid to bring him back on a qualifying offer because you know he's not going to re-sign with you. But I also think it's stupid to bring him back on a long-term contract for money that he probably doesn't deserve. So it's like, what do you do there? I think you should trade him. I think you should give him a contract that another team will look at as valuable and trade him. I think Sacramento is a team that would look at him. If, say, it's Malik Monk to Toronto, Cam Thomas to Sacramento, and RJ Barrett to Brooklyn, like that's a deal that works. I know that a lot of people here aren't big RJ Barrett guys, but 2-year contract that matches up with Michael Porter Jr. Not a guy that's going to probably go out there and get you wins, but also a guy that could still go out there and help the development of Yegor. I don't hate it.
I'd be willing to try that, right? Like, what is RJ?
We would have Yegor, RJ at the 2, MPJ at the 3, Noah Clowney at the 4, Claxton at the 5.
You got good size. You got good length there. Like,
your smallest guys, RJ Barrett at 6'7". That's a fun watch. Like, that's something to turn on ES Network every game and be happy about.
You're putting Porter at the 2, you said, in that lineup? Porter at the 2?
No, Porter at the 3.
RJ at the 2?
RJ at the 2.
It's kind of interchangeable, but yeah, that's fine. RJ at the 2, Porter at the 3, Clowney at the 4. Right, so you got 6'9", 6'7", 6'9", 6'9", 6'11". Okay.
Like, I could get behind that. Yeah. I could turn on a game and be like, all right, this will be fun. Like, it shouldn't win a lot of games, but because again, that starting 5 sounds good, but when you look at the depth, it's horrible, right? Yeah. And I think people are forgetting that. It doesn't matter what starting 5 they put out there this year. The bench is so young and not developed, it's not going to win games. If you give 4 guys off the bench 16 plus minutes a night, they're probably losing 15 of those 16 minutes. So it's not going to result in a lot of wins, which is why I don't hate the idea of bringing in another guy of, Michael Porter Jr.'s capabilities, like an RJ Barrett, who, though is a good player who could be a great third option on a contender probably won't get the job done because of the lack of help that they have around them.
And that's what was made last year so frustrating, right? Like you would agree with me that this year our concern is not winning basketball games this year. That's not our concern. Our concern is the development of the 5 guys we drafted. And that's what made last year was so frustrating, was that there was no one developed, no one got good. Like there was no Spencer Dinwiddie or Joe Harris or guys like that. We're like, oh, okay, here's a guy that we can keep. There was none of that last year. On top of that, we just started winning games because one day D'Lo hits 2 threes in the final 10 seconds, or Cam Johnson or Dennis Schroeder starts cooking, and it's like none of this is good. Like Dennis Schroeder scoring 30 this night, or D'Lo hitting 2 threes against Houston in the final 10 seconds to, from going down 5 to up 1 in 10 seconds. None of this is helpful short-term or long-term. Like none of this is good. And that's what made last year so frustrating. So if the Nets lose all their games, it's like, okay, as long as Wolf and Yegor and Traore and Saraf, as long as those guys developed and those guys got minutes and those guys got much better on game 82 than they were in game 1, that's a win. But it's like when you had last year, it's like no one improved, no one got better, and we somehow still managed to win games because DFS made some winning plays early in the season. Cam Johnson hit 6 threes in this game, so we won. It's like none of this is helpful.
Dennis Schroeder put up 25 somehow. Like
yeah,
yeah, no, I agree.
All right. Tomorrow is kind of bad for me. I gotta wrap this up. I want to do something with Pete, but tomorrow might be rough for me. What is your schedule?
Let's shoot for Friday. If you want to do a pregame or a postgame, we can try and figure something out.
All right, let's try to do a postgame on Friday if that works.
Sounds good.
That works. All right, I'll text Pete. SGA scored 13. His rookie year. It's too. I agree. I don't remember SGA summer league from his rookie year. I just wanted someone to stand out. I wanted someone to take games over and dominate and look like the best player on the court. And we didn't get that. And I'm not saying the book is written on Yegor, that Yegor is no good or Traore is no good. I saw glimpses from Traore. I was pleasantly surprised with Traore. I would say that. Traore, actually, I thought he didn't finish at the rim yet, but that'll come. He's not going to miss layups his whole career right at the rim, but he's getting to the rim, which was... I
mean, unless if you're Brandon Jennings.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
The only highlight he has is getting crossed up by Kyrie in a rookies versus sophomores game, so...
He had 50 in a game, didn't he?
He did. He was underrated. A lot of people shit on him, but no, he wasn't that bad.
He was the first one not to go to college. He went to Europe instead. They read an HBO special on him, and the guy from HBO asked him, "You're playing like 6 minutes a game in Italy. Is there anything worse than that?" And he said, "I'm making $1 million a year. Yeah, being in class would be worse." And
I mean, hey, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong, but it's a stupid question. I'm making $1 million a year to play basketball. Is there anything that could be worse than that?
Yes, not even that.
In class right now, that would be worse.
Not even that. You're making $1 million to play 6 minutes of basketball. Like it's not even like you're really going out there and hurting yourself. You're not even breaking a sweat.
Still got drafted in the lottery the next year too. I think.
I was gonna say Patty Mills was making like $6.5 million to sit on the bench his final year with the Nets. Are you kidding me? I would do that for $500,000.
For sure, 100%.
I get to show up to practice and be a cheerleader for $500,000. Hell yeah.
You don't have to bring your jersey. Just wear the fresh warm-ups on.
No, I'll just come out. I'll go out and buy a couple of nice clothes. I'll show up with some nice shoes, and I'll sit on that bench and I'll say, "Go team!" You know, like that's you pay me $500,000 a year to do that. I'll make a career
Brian
out of it.
Scalabrine did it for 10 years on good teams. Like when you look at a guy's all-time winning percentage, right? Like how many games did he win? Scalabrine's got to be high on that list. He always was he's always on a contending team. He's on the Nets, then he went to Chicago, then he went to Boston. Like Scalabrine never played, but his team always won. Always.
He was the glue guy.
He had that one. Was it game 4 or 5? Game 5 against Detroit in 2004, where he hit a bunch of corner threes. Shout out Brian Scalabrine. That's legend. Were you alive in 2004? You are, right?
I was. Yeah, I was 3.
Okay. Scalabrine had a game against Detroit in the second round where he probably had 12 points, but he hit 4 corner threes. It's like, yes, Scalabrine from the corner again.
The Ginger Mamba.
Yeah, the Ginger Mom. All right. I'm going to wrap this up. We'll be back on Friday.
Yep. Friday should
Friday
work. Yeah, we'll
post-game.
confirm and we'll keep in touch. But yeah, we'll figure it out.
Hopefully Pete can join us. All right. Appreciate you. It's July 16th, 2025 from Texas to the world. Thank y'all and God bless.
Later.